Stay-at-Home Wellness, where we talk about why wellness changes so much after becoming a stay-at-home mom and what to do about it. I'm Hannah Stewart from wellnesswithhannah.com, and today we're talking about tips for waking up on time if you're in a rut of hitting the snooze button every single day. And honestly, 6 months ago, if you had told me I would have woken up at 5 and gotten out of bed as soon as my alarm went off and then stayed up and didn't go back to bed, I probably would have laughed in your face. My sister and I actually used to share a room when I was in college, and she would get so mad about me because I would hit snooze for 3 hours, which I know it's totally horrible, but I did it. So Natalie, if you're listening, I apologize for all those years. But I would hit snooze all the time, and that continued into my marriage where I would hit snooze. Usually my husband would get up the first time after my alarm went off, and I would stay in bed again and again and again and again. And I honestly could not figure out, how do I break this habit? It's probably a habit I've had since childhood, and really the only thing that would guarantee get me out of bed was my kids waking up, which is not great, or me waking up naturally, which oftentimes does happen just because my husband goes to bed early. But I wanted to know that I would always have time before my kids got up, and it was just such a struggle. And I feel like, especially as a stay-at-home mom, if you're in the habit of being woken up by your kids, it's even though you love your kids so much, it's really exhausting, right? Because as soon as you wake up, then somebody needs you, and you haven't had time in God's Word, you haven't had time to exercise, anything like that. So all of that changed for me recently, and I want to tell you guys what steps I took to finally being able to get out of bed when I want to and stay up. But before I dive into that, please go ahead, if you like this video, go ahead and like and subscribe, and feel free to leave a rating on Apple Podcasts if you do that for me. And then also, I wanted to let you guys know that this video is part of a series of talking about different habits you can incorporate into your life as a stay-at-home mom, because wellness does change so much once you become a mom. And I feel like not enough people are talking about it. So if you want to see the rest of the videos in this series, again, you can subscribe to my channel, but then make sure to look at the video after it's done and check out the videos that come next, because they're all about this topic. So, okay, let's dive into the 3 tips I have for you for waking up on time and not hitting the snooze button and going back to bed like I was doing. So, tip number 1, make it difficult to stay in bed. I used to lie in bed after I snoozed my alarm and tell myself all the reasons I should get up but didn't want to get up. I would lie there and think, oh, I need to work out. Oh, I need to, I don't know, make breakfast. I need to read my Bible. Oh, I should do this. Oh, I have dishes in the sink. And honestly, even though I was telling myself all these things that I needed to do, it was really overwhelming to think about doing that when my bed was so cozy and warm. So, and I would spend all that time just trying to convince myself to get out of bed after I had hit snooze on the alarm clock. And eventually I would usually fall back asleep before I even made a decision one way or the other. So what I started is I took my alarm clock, and instead of moving my phone and setting it right beside my bedstand at night, I moved it just on the other side of the room, not even in another room, but just across the room. And now, instead of using all the energy to try to muster up the courage to get out of bed, guess what? I get out of bed every single day now to turn off my alarm, which I never had to do before because it was too convenient. So again, I just moved it across the room. Now I get out of bed. And every day, it's super easy. The other thing I do is I try to set up the day before, I try to set up what I'm going to do after I wake up. So I set out a glass of water, which is something for me to do right after I get up in the morning, to drink a glass of water. So what I would recommend doing is, after you've woken up, after you've turned off your alarm, have something else for you to do to get you even out of your room. Maybe that's, I'm just going to use the bathroom, I'm going to go get a glass of water, then I'm going to decide whether or not I'm going to go back to bed that day. And even just having that step of walking out of the dark, cozy bedroom, turning on a light, gets you thinking about all the things you had planned for that day. So, tip number 1, make it difficult to stay in bed. Tip number 2, make it easy to get out of bed. That may sound like the same point, but it's not. It's different. So I used to lie in bed, as I mentioned, dreading all of the things I had to do that day. So instead of creating a to-do list for yourself that you're dreading every day, I would really recommend, if you are struggling like I was getting out of bed, having something right after you get out of bed that is some kind of reward or something to look forward to. So I'm not saying you have to, I don't know, go to the spa at 5 a.m. That's not going to work. Just something little, something like doing something you enjoy. Reading your Bible is something that I enjoy doing. Another one that a lot of people use, my husband uses this, is drinking coffee or getting a hot beverage. So as soon as I get out of bed, I'm going to have a hot beverage that I could drink right as I wake up. You could choose to do a really short, fun activity. Like I've seen some moms will just like write a letter to their spouse really fast, like on a little note card, or to their kids. You could, I don't know, paint your nails, check on your plant, check on your garden if it's light outside. Just do something that you won't dread getting out of bed for. And you know what that is. In fact, if you were thinking of something that I haven't mentioned, why don't you comment below? What would be something that would get you excited to get out of bed? And again, it should only be 5-10 minutes tops, because you don't want to spend the whole morning wasting time on something, but just do something so it's a little bit of a reward to get out of bed. I would recommend, my one caveat here is please don't go and look at a screen as soon as you wake up. I used to do this and I just find it really is draining. Sometimes it makes me think about all the day's problems, which is not helpful. And it also can get you sucked in. So like if there's an interesting social media post or interesting video or email that you're like, oh, how am I going to respond to that? It could really suck you in. So I would recommend go ahead and set your phone to the wayside and don't really check it until after you get through more of your morning routine. I did want to take a break and let you know that this video is sponsored by my business, Wellness with Hannah, and I truly believe that wellness for moms changes drastically once you become a mom, and not enough people are talking about it. I think so often moms are characterized as lazy, but this is honestly the furthest thing from the truth. Moms are some of the most hardworking people I know, whether they're waking up with their kids at night, or I don't know about you, but all the picking up, setting my kid down, playing at the park with them, reading the books, researching, all the research, so much research. It's really exhausting. And so I don't think the narrative that moms are lazy is true, but it is true that a lot of moms do struggle with getting the baby weight off, or they struggle with finding time to work out, finding time to do something they actually enjoy. So if you feel like you're in a place in motherhood where you're drowning and you cannot find the time to do these wellness habits, then why don't you go ahead, check out the link below. You can actually schedule a slot on my calendar to meet with me, and we can discuss whatever wellness habit you're wanting to work on, whether that's you want to work on fitting in workout, whether that looks like you want to plan meals, whatever that looks like for you. I would love to help you with that, because for a lot of moms, it really isn't that you need more information. You actually need the accountability, and you need to figure out how to incorporate habits into your life. You need those practical steps. Most people have enough information. It's just that actually figuring out how to incorporate those steps into their life as a mom that is difficult. So if that interests you at all, check out the link below and you can learn more. And then I wanted to move lastly into one of my other tips, which is that visual cues are really, really important for humans, but especially in the morning when you're getting going. Because I don't know about you, but when I wake up in the morning, I'm a little bit like a zombie. You don't really want to talk to me right when I wake up. So when I wake up, I don't need a bunch of extra steps. So this is something I learned from my husband, but what I do the night before is I set up the next day. So this could look like doing anything from setting out whatever medicine or supplements you want to take in the morning. For me, that's my thyroid medicine. I guess a lot of people don't take meds in the morning, but I have a thyroid problem, so I take thyroid meds. It could look like setting out your glass of water. I set out my Bible, my notebook, my prayer. I have too many journals. I set out my pen because, believe it or not, I had this habit. My husband would sit at a desk and I'd wake up. Every morning I'd go to the desk and I'd ask, can I get in there? And I'd open it, get a pen out, and then I'd keep doing things. And I'd come back and I'd say, can I get in there again? Usually it's twice, which is really bad. I don't know why I didn't consolidate those. But again, I was super out of it, so I did it. And I'd go back and I'd get in again to get my Bible and notebook and all this. So I finally just started setting that out. You can set out your workout clothes. I usually sleep in my workout clothes, but just to reduce friction again. But for some of you, if you don't like to do that, you could set out your workout clothes. Sometimes I'll set out the bowls of whatever cereal, like I won't pour the cereal, but I'll set out bowls for my kids, or you could set out your blender if you're a smoothie person. Just make it as easy as possible to do what you want to do, right? So the goal is making it difficult to do what you don't want to do. Hit snooze, make it easy to get out of bed, okay? And then it's also good to make it hard to go back to bed. So this is similar to what we've already talked about, but you do want to do something active right when you wake up in the morning. You don't want to just get out of bed, wander to the couch, sit on the couch, and then try to read something, because you probably will fall back asleep if you're anything like me. So get up, do something active. This could be something simple like checking on the garden if it's light outside. It could look like throwing in a load of laundry. This is actually what I like to do a lot, is throw in a load of laundry. You could wipe down a counter, wash a dish, I don't know, whatever floats your boat. But just something where you're up and about for a little bit before you sit down. Another one that I can't do, but a lot of people do in the mornings, is drink some kind of caffeine. So this will help you get excited for the day. I wouldn't recommend a hardcore energy drink or something like that, but some people like a nice cup of black tea or coffee. That's great. You could do a 10-minute stretching video, but just something to wake you up so that you don't end up hopping right back into bed after you turn off the snooze. So I hope this video was helpful for you, as all of these tips were for me. This video is actually part of a series on developing habits as a stay-at-home mom, because it is so different when you're a mom. So if you liked it, I would love it if you check out the next video in this series for more tips on developing wellness habits as a stay-at-home mom. Thank you guys so much.